My wife wanted to be in the video. She brought me breakfast out. What's up, guys? Brian VANDUYN here. Just got done pressure washing the old girl. As you can see, I'm a little dirty. Got moisture splatters all over me. So I wanted to do a quick little live stream, probably under 30 minutes or so, and just kind of go over the reasons and, you know, how I determined the value of the old girl, you know. And really, ultimately, you know, when you're selling something, you determine the value of what you want to sell for. It's your article, it's your truck, it's your whatever, you name it. You set your own price, right? Whether or not it sells, that's up to you, you know, on the price you set and the market that you're in, okay? Now, with that being said, let's talk about some of the things that helped me determine the value of my old truck, right? So just so you guys know, it hasn't sold yet, but I got a guy coming at, I think, 10 o'clock. He said he was going to be here at 10. He's from Belfair. I got like 6 people interested in buying the truck already, you know, which it doesn't surprise me. It's a nice looking truck, and you know, it's got good bones. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the things that make a truck worth what it's worth. Okay. In Washington alone, you know, I can't speak really for other states, but the rental rate is something that helps determine the value of a truck, right? In Washington, we're charging 130 bucks an hour. You know, in Ohio, they're charging 95 or whatever they're charging. I don't know what it is, but it's less. Everywhere else, you know, except for probably maybe California or something, not a lot of states are charging 130 an hour for a solo. You know, so that helps increase the value. When the market is saturated with trucks, right, that's going to decrease the value because there's so many of them, right? If there's less of them, then that brings the value up, okay? That's something you need to look at and how you set your, you know, your used truck value. The last thing you want to do is go smoke a crack pipe before you go list your, you know, your truck, right? And so let me show you some of the things that I have recently done to the truck that warrant the price that I'm asking, right? So I'm asking $35,000 for the truck. Everybody knows I bought the truck for $8,000. I've never been ashamed of that, you know. And I have literally 5 years worth of videos showing me working on the truck, me fixing stuff on the truck, me upgrading the truck. 5 years worth of videos. That is priceless. Nobody can offer that, you know, except for maybe another YouTuber, you know, which there aren't very many of us that show us actually working on the rigs, you know, and fixing stuff. Okay. So that adds to the value. Okay. What else adds to the value? Well, let me just take you through real quick on this truck. That hoist right there, 4 years old. Let me take you back here. These springs, 4 months old. The spring hangers, 4 months old. The walking I-beam bushings, 4 months old. Both sides. Torque rods, 6 months old. Both sides. New kingpins, 4 months old. New front springs, 6 months old. New spring hanger bushings, 4 months old. Oh yeah, let's take you to the other side. Brand new air compressor rebuild. By a shop, not by me. 2 months old. New alternator, 6 months old. Look at the tires, all virgin tires. These aren't recaps, these are virgins. You see my finger in the tread? That's 85% tread life. maybe 95% tread life. Look at the drop axle tires. 95% tread life. Both of them. The steers are a little bit worn. They're a little bit more worn, but they're 75%. You know, 50 to 70, somewhere in there. Brand new kingpin on this axle. Both sides. You know, those are things that help you determine the value of your truck, right? So, now you got to look at the cons of your truck, you know. Okay, the truck is an 85, so that makes it, what, almost 50 years old, right? Parts availability, yes, that's a serious thing to consider when buying an old truck, you know. And I haven't lied about that. That's one of the things that I've said since day one. Those wedge brakes, you ain't finding parts for those. You might find a few parts for them. Like you can get the wafers for the diaphragm for it, but all the other parts, slim pickings. But guess what? I have a set of brake drums for this. I have the wafers for the front. You know, so that's things to be talked about, right? Here's the thing, guys. When you buy an old truck, you're buying an old truck, right? Trucks don't last forever. We wish they did, but they just don't. Oh yeah, let me add another thing. Brand new hinges. Those are brand new hinges. 4 years old. 3 years old, or whatever, however old they are. The gate latch is tight, right? These have been repaired. It's got LED headlights. Frame's got a quality repair. It's got a serious insert inside. You can see the insert right there. See that insert? There's one on the other side too. Guess what? Trucks break. For the frames break, everything breaks on a truck. If you think your truck is invincible, you're fooling yourself. You know, if you think that my truck isn't worth anything because the frame was cracked once, you're kidding yourself. You know, it's like I posted. Here's the thing. When you post your used truck, you're going to get two types of people. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You're going to get the people that say, oh, yeah, that looks like a good deal. That's a nice truck. You know, that's a good price for it. And then you're going to get the faggots like Justin who say, oh, that truck ain't worth this, that ain't that, you know. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get the faggots, and you're going to get the people that actually know what a truck is worth, right? So when somebody says what their truck is worth, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's whatever they want to charge for it, okay? That's the number one thing. If I want to sell this truck for $100,000, then that's my price. If I think it's worth that, that's my price. You know, nobody gets to decide what my price is, you know. I'm personally not the guy that thinks of something and says, oh, this is gold, you know. This is a gold truck, you know. It's a golden nugget. You know, this $80,000. Give me $80,000 for this. No, I'm a realist. I'm a realist, right? So I look at all the cost I've put into this truck. I literally have $30,000 wrapped up into this truck just in the last, you know, probably 2 years, you know. So am I asking the world for this truck? No, I'm not. I'm asking a realistic price because I know what's been done to the truck. I know what the truck is capable of, you know. I'm not the type of guy that's just going to go out here and say, oh, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to just sell this pig and, you know, get one over on somebody. That's not me, right? I don't need to sell this truck. That's the thing between you and me, Justin, is when I sell a truck, it's because I choose to sell it. If you sell a truck, it's because the bank's telling you to sell it because I have the title to that, right? I have the green piece of paper that says Brian VANDUYN is the legal owner of this machine, right? Same with that one right there. Right there. You know, Justin, so you know, you can talk all the smack on the internet you want, and you can Facebook stalk me and Instagram stalk me all you want. I got the screenshots to prove you Facebook stalking me. Like, you got nothing better to do than stalk me, you know? I just don't get it, you know? I've long forgot about you, you know? And every time I post something, guess who's there to comment on it? I just, you know? The last video I did on you was almost a year ago, and you're still, for some reason, I'm in your brain somehow. I don't know how it happened, but, you know, living rent-free, I guess, you know. But anyways, you know, those are some of the things that I take into account when valuing a truck. Obviously, brand is another major thing, right? So you got your two main brands, Peterbilt, Kenworth. They're the most sought after, right? This is a 359. How many more 359s are on the market in this condition? You know, that have the 8V92 Silver Detroit, you know. That's something you got to think about, right? If you got a, you know, I'm not trying to dog on Freightliner or nothing, or, you know, Western Star, but let's be realistic here. Most owner-operators want a Peterbilt or a Kenworth, you know. Most company drivers want to drive a Kenworth or a Peterbilt. They don't want to drive a Freightliner, you know. And I got nothing against Freightliner. I like Freightliners. I like Western Stars. I like every single truck out there. I think they're all pretty cool, you know. And they all have a purpose. And they all get used in different ways. And some of them break down more than others. And some of them, you know, cost more than others. It's a catch-22. You never really know if you're going to get ahead or get behind. You know, it's, you know, it's kind of like gambling, you know. You know, when I first bought this truck for $8,000, the motor could have blown up the next day. The motor literally could have blew up the next day. The transmission could have fell out of the thing, you know. You really don't know. You can just do your best ability, take your eyes and your hands and put them on the truck and look at everything and see what the general condition of it is. Make lists, make, you know, comparisons, and you just make a judgment call and you say, okay, this is what we're looking at, this is what we got, you know, and, you know, you just figure it out. You know, I have all the receipts. I have all the maintenance records for this truck. You know, that's worth something. The videos are worth something that I put out. They're worth something. Because somebody wants to go back and look and say, oh, yeah, he did fix that. You know? So, you know, that is a lot of stuff you got to take into account, you know. And I would say one of the biggest things, like, especially if you're going to buy a used truck, trust your gut. Trust your gut. Okay? If you think the guy is slimy, he's slimy, man. He's slimy. You know? Like, I'll never forget the day. I don't even remember the guy's name I bought this truck from, but I could tell he was shady, you know? He said, oh, yeah, that truck, man, it's ready to work today, this and that, you know? And, I believed every word he said, and then I started looking at the truck, and I'm like, oh, this guy, you know, he isn't really, his words aren't matching it up with what I'm seeing, right? You have natural instincts in you that are going to tell you this type of stuff. You got to pay attention to what your body's telling you, you know, when you go to buy a used truck, you know. And if the guy's up front and honest with you, you'll know it immediately, you know. And that, when I'm selling something, I'm going to be able to sleep at night. A lot of people, you know, they're like, oh, you don't got to tell them this or that. It's their job to inspect the truck. Yes, it is. But I personally have a conscience, and I want to be able to sleep at night. You know, that's why I didn't list the truck for $50,000. Do I think I could get $50,000 for this truck? Hell yeah. I think I could get 45 easy. Easy, all day long, 45,000. You know? But is it really worth that? You know, that'd be a smart business decision for me. It's all numbers, right? I could sell it for 45,000 today. You know, I had 6 people in the first day hit me up about this truck. 6 people in the first day. right? I put a post on Dump Truckers for Sale on Facebook. Got over 50 likes. There's probably 20 comments on that. I took a screenshot of it. Brian, are you selling the truck that started it all? Is that the truck I've seen on YouTube? Like, everybody knows this truck, right? So, you know, I'm not going to sell a truck to somebody who's just starting out, just like I did, and say, hey, man, 50 grand. And then, you know, they're going down the road, and then next thing you know, something breaks on it, and they're like, Brian, you put me out of business. You know, you sold me this hunk of junk, and you didn't tell me nothing. BS, dude. Like, that'll never happen. That will never happen to me. You know, there are people out there that will pull one over on you. They'll clean it up. They'll paint it. It'll look brand spanking new, you know, and, you know, you get it home, and then guess what? You find out this doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this is broken, and this is cracked, and this is bent, and this is missing, and, you know, and that's going to happen to you. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You know, and when you're buying a used truck, you know, do your due diligence. So, like, seriously, I did not do my due diligence when I bought this truck. Like, I looked at it really good. I looked at it for about an hour, but I didn't even test drive the thing before I paid the guy the money. Like, I didn't even test drive it, guys. Like, that's how naive I was when I first started my business. You know, the world we live in, people will take advantage of you. As soon as you turn your back, they'll be stabbing it, man. They will be stabbing it. That's not me. You know, all my videos are on YouTube. Shows everything I've done to the truck. Everything I've ever broken on the truck, it shows it. The frame's cracked. Well, guess what? It's on YouTube. You know, most people aren't going to tell you that type of stuff. The frame's cracked? Oh, yeah. What? My frame was never cracked, you know. I didn't know that was that way, you know. You know, that's what's going to happen. And this is how they'll do it, too. I guarantee you. Truck sold as is. No warranty, no guarantee, no nothing. You know, that's the way they sell it to you. That is exactly the way they will sell it to you. No warranty, sold as is. You know? And that's the way the world works. Sold as is. You're taking a gamble. No matter what you buy, you're taking a gamble. When I bought that International for $55,000, I took a gamble. Guess what? It paid off. Was it hard and stressful? Yes, it was. The turbo blew on it the first day I had it out. There goes 13 grand. You know, $13,000. The guy I bought it from, guess what he said? That thing's ready to work today. Nothing wrong with it. All the drop axle bushings were shot on it. They had wires poking out of every single tire, right? When I showed up. I knew from the price that stuff was wrong with that truck, right? But the guy had the nerve to say, oh, it's ready to work, 100%. You know? I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I said something like that to somebody. You know? That's the difference between me and a lot of people, right? You know? I don't know what Justin sold his Western Star for that tipped over, but I bet you he didn't tell him it tipped over. He's the type of guy that would probably try to pull something on you, you know? He is. He acts like he's out there to help you, but he ain't out there to help you. You know? He's out there to help himself. And that's exactly the way it shows, you know? When he sent me those packages, he didn't even pay for half the stuff he sent me. You know? He got it for free and they sent it to me. You know? One of the Ohio dump truckers even said to me, he said, hey man, is it weird that he gave me this and then asked me to do a video thanking him for it, for giving it to me? Like, does that seem right? That ain't right. That ain't right. I'm just airing out the dirty laundry right now. I'm just airing out the dirty laundry, Justin. You know? That's something I would never do. If I'm going to help somebody and give something to somebody, I never tell them, say, hey, man, can you post something on Facebook saying I gave this to you? Hell no, dude. That ain't right. That's freaking sleazy. That is sleazy. That's slimy. That just shows no character. That shows it's all about me. Only me. I'm the only one that matters. That's what that shows. All right, let's check into these comments. Unfortunately, that old Detroit is an oil consumer motor. Too bad it's not a 60 series. Yeah, it is definitely an oil consumer, and I ain't gonna lie to anybody. A gallon every 2 days. Be prepared. A gallon every 2 days. When I bought the thing, it was a gallon every day. I replaced the rear main seal. It cost me $5,000. Dirk's Truck Repair did it, right? Dropped it down to a gallon a day. A gallon every 2 days. 3 days. It's definitely an oil consumer. No joke about that. It drips it, it burns it, it does everything to it. Looks good, Brian. You've put a lot of work into that truck. I'm sure it will sell quick. Don't worry about what others say. Just do it. Deal with tire kickers when they come to look at it. Don't worry about the internet rah-rah. If you guys like you, Mr. V, bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. Here's how I value my truck. I took all the repairs and the parts, mainly just the parts I put into it, right? I mean, I literally put 30 grand into the truck in the last 2 years. 20,000 of it in the last 6 months, right? So realistically, $10,000 is all I'm really making off the truck. Is that a lot of money? No, that's not a lot of money. But that's the real price. That is, me being able to sleep at night. I'm not out here to go collect gold nuggets. I'm here to pick up the gold dust. You don't make it big ripping people off. That's not how you make it in life. You make it in life by doing the small things, and it adds up. That's the only way to do it, right? If you start picking up the gold nuggets and acting, start ripping people off, you won't be able to sleep at night, and somebody's going to come kill you. That's the world we live in, You don't want to sell a truck to somebody and then have the motor blow up on them and they paid $90,000 for it, because they will want to kill you. That is what happens in our world. I know some of you guys may live in fantasy land, but that stuff does happen. Like, I know personally a guy who bought a truck. He paid like $90,000 for the truck, right? I mean, the guy's filthy rich, so it didn't really bother him. But paid like 90 grand for the truck, and then literally the same week he had to replace the motor. And it was like $50,000 worth of stuff he had to put into the truck immediately, right after he bought it. He was not happy. He was not happy camper about that. And then his mentality was, well, basically, I got so much into the thing, now I can't sell it because it's worth too much, and he'd never get the money out of it if he sold it, right? This truck right here, $30,000. Do I want to sell it? Hell no, I don't want to sell this truck. I don't want to sell it. I don't really need to sell it either, though. I honestly don't. The past 4 or 5 months, I've only worked like 5 days. The drivers, they work, and they work good, and they bring home the bacon, and I do the dispatching and take care of the trucks. So I literally haven't driven this truck. I drove it like 3 months this year. That's it. I'll be 100% honest. Three months. That's all I worked it. It made like 60 grand, I'll be honest. 60 grand, that's all the truck made this last year. $60,000. I worked it 3 months. The other time, I spent improving my property and taking care of the other 2 super dumps. So, now here's my conversation between me and my grandpa about this truck. Here's as basic as it gets. Hey, Grandpa, you think I should sell the old truck? And he said, well, Is it making you money or costing you money? You know? And he said, it's really up to you, Brian. And I said, I know, but, you know, it means a lot to us. You know, we spent a lot of time on it, and, you know, I don't really need to sell it. And he acknowledged that. He's like, yeah, you don't need to sell it. But he said, you know, are you going to keep everything you ever buy? You know, if it's your first, are you going to keep everything? You know? And he said, if it makes more sense to sell it, then sell it. You know? And, you know, we're growing the business. You know, we got 2 super dumps. One's paid for. That one's paid for. This one's almost paid for. I owe less than half of what I bought it for. So another thing I wanted to bring up, Justin, since I know you're probably going to watch this. Here's the difference between me and you, right? I tell people, you know, debt is not the best choice, right? And then you say, oh, you're going against what you're saying. You know, you're talking out of both sides of your face. Well, no, I'm not. Here's why I'm not, okay? Yes, I went into debt on that one truck. But my whole message is don't go into it farther than you can handle it. You got 15 trucks and you don't own a single one, dude. If the work stops, all your shit is getting taken by the bank. All of it. Guess what? If my work stops, guess what they're taking? One truck. And they probably wouldn't even take that because I'd probably sell something and keep paying. So at the end of the day, Justin, what I've been telling people is don't get above what you're capable of paying, right? You think that everything's just going to go perfect and you're always going to have unlimited work. That's not what happens in life, dude. We have the freaking COVID or freaking World War III or whatever happens, and the work just stops. We got a concrete strike in Seattle. Guess what? The work stopped. But guess what? When the truck payment came out, I didn't even notice it, man. I didn't even notice it. I guarantee you sweat bullets every time the truck payments come out of your bank account. Oh, there goes $500,000 in truck payments, or what? I don't know, whatever your truck payments are. 15 trucks times 5, you know, $200,000 a month or whatever. I bet you sweat bullets every time that comes out, man. Guess what? I don't even notice when my truck payment comes out. That's the difference I'm trying to tell people. When you start your business, pay cash for everything. Yes, you can do the credit option. You can do credit, and it helps. But don't get above your level. Keep it in check, right? People go way into debt, way more than they can handle, and then they lose it all. And then they, you know, curse the world and say, oh, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. Yes, it was your fault because you're the one that took the payments. You're the one that, you know, wished everything was going to be rainbows and sunshine. And that's not the way the world works. You know, you think you're making more money than me. Maybe you are right now. Maybe you are because you don't own any trucks. But maybe your percentage on your trucks is more than what I'm making with what I own. But guess what? When the work stops, you lose everything. I lose nothing. That's the difference between you and me. You're not playing it safe, and I'm playing it safe. That's the difference, you know? It's just like when I tell people, you know, for your first truck, don't buy a new truck. Here's why. Here's why I don't want you to buy a new truck for your first truck. Number one, you probably don't know what you're getting into. Number two, a truck payment is like twice of a mortgage payment, right? You don't know if you're going to have the work for it. You have this massive mortgage payment. You don't know if you're going to have the work for it. You don't even really know if you like doing it, right? Another difference between you and me, Justin, I could shut down shop today and not lose a dime. I could sell that dump truck. I could keep everything else and just shut down. You cannot shut down. To sell all that stuff, you'd be upside down, brother. You would be upside down, you know? Oh, nothing, Blake. I'm over here ranting and raving because Justin's got me worked up. He was talking crap on my post. You know, I just went on to Pierce County Dump Truckers. All I did was make a post. My dump truck's for sale, $35,000. It's got this, this. And Justin's over there, that truck ain't worth this and that, and you know, bringing up old crap. You know, it's like, dude, why do you Facebook stalk me for this stupid stuff? Like, he literally has no work that he has time to Facebook stalk me and Instagram stalk me. Like, I just don't get it. And you can lie about not stalking me, Justin, but I got the screenshots of you following my stuff and posting stuff, you know, so you can lie, you can deny it all you want, but I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really bother me. I just go about my stuff, you know, usually. Every once in a while, I get riled up. But anyways, Blake, I was talking about how I valued my truck and why I valued it at $35,000. You know, I was telling everybody, I think I could get more than $35,000 for it, honestly. With all the stuff I've done to it, like, it's literally valued at probably, you know, 45, you know. So I'll just go through all the stuff again that I've done to the truck just in the past 2 years, you know, which if you replace something on a truck, you know, within 2 years, it's going to last you 10 years, you know. I mean, that's just pretty much what it is. You don't got to worry about it. Once you replace it, it's going to last 10 years, you know, unless you got some sort of abuse or something to it. So, new springs, both sides, new hangers, both sides, new walking I-beams, both sides, or new bushings for the walking I-beams. It's got new torque rods. Come up here. It's got new front springs, both sides, new front spring bushings, both sides, new kingpins, both sides. It's got, let's go over to the other side. Oh, and all this stuff I just mentioned was in the last year. Everything I just mentioned, all the springs, all the bushings within the last year. Same with this side. Air compressor rebuilt by a local shop last month, right? That's a brand new hoist, 3 years old, 3-year-old hoist, 3-year-old hinge pins. This thing's tight, you know? So, look at these tires. These are virgin tires. Look at my finger. Those are deep lug tires right there, you know. Just the tires alone, brand new, is $4,000, you know. And then you got these 2 drop axle tires. They're basically brand new. Look at the tread depth on those. There's another grand. The steer tires, you know, they're 70% life. You know, so I got a lot of money wrapped up into this thing. So am I making a ton of money selling it for 35? No, I'm not. I'm not making barely any money because I'm selling it for what I got into it, basically. You know? So, you know, $35,000 is a reasonable price for this truck. You know, when I bought it, was it worth $35,000? Hell no. The frame was cracked. All the tires were bald. It had different rims. It had a cracked frame, bent frame. The hoist was bent. It didn't even go up. No muffler, no lights, no mirrors. The wiring was shot. All the airlines were shot. All that other stuff, right? So, exactly, but like, you're in 120 into your Sterling. I'm in a lot of money into this truck. You know, $35,000 is a reasonable price for this truck. You know, and anybody with 2 brain cells can see that. Well, I got the International for $12K, and with the way stuff's selling high and repairs, I've made it probably worth double that pretty easy. Yep. You're just heading out to load trucks. There you go, buddy. Sounds like Justin wants your truck, but ego is high. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had 6 people message me within the first, 6 hours. And I got a guy coming today to look at it, So I have no doubt that it's going to sell for what I'm asking. It's a reasonable price for what you're getting. Yes, it's an older truck. It's a 1985. It's like 50 years old. But guess what? That thing starts up every single morning. Every single morning, And it'll run with all the other brand new trucks. And it'll make the same amount of money. Same amount of money, And I honestly, I don't really even need to sell it. I talked to Grandpa and, I could just let it sit there because I have the title. I could take it off the insurance and just let it sit there and rot, because I'm not driving the thing anymore. Hurts my back. That's the real reason I'm selling it. Hurts my back, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to driving it every day. When I'm driving that truck, I'm not making the most out of my time dispatching for those 2 trucks. I'm not making the most out of my time contacting and connecting with my customers. That's the main reason I'm selling that truck, is because it is a distraction to growing my business. Yes, that's my pride and joy. That's the one that started everything, right? But if I want my business to go to the next level, if I want generational wealth in my family, if I want to create that generational stuff for my kids, this has got to go, because if I keep spending time driving this instead of focusing on growing the business, and keeping up what I got, then you don't get further. That's what I did to my International when the local work stopped. I just parked it until I could fix it up to sell. Yeah, see? I mean, realistically, does everybody want to keep their first truck? Hell yes. Everybody wants to keep their first truck, because that's the one that inspired everything. Is that truck an embodiment of me? Yes, it is, But if I want to grow, I have to grow the business, and keeping it is not growing the business. It's reminiscing on the past, right? And we got to look at the future, A good business decision isn't, let's take $35,000 and let's just sit it in your front yard and use it as a yard ornament. Would I love to do that? Hell yeah, I would. But it just doesn't make financial sense, And my kids have to learn this too. The older you get, you got to get rid of your toys to get new toys. That's the way life goes, When you have kids, I mean, some people, they got their birthday cards from when they were 2 years old, You can't keep everything, And honestly, I got the videos and the pictures and the memories in my head from this truck. So I don't really need the truck. I've got 5 years worth of blood, sweat, and tears locked away in my brain with this truck, And I can remember my most fondest moments and my worst moments like this in this truck. So do I need to look at it to remember that stuff? No, I don't. I'll give Justin one thing. He was right when he told me to sell it a few years ago, like 2 years ago, when I first bought that one. He's like, you should sell that old one, And I probably should have. I probably should have sold it then and, focused more on growth in my business, But the difference is I like to grow things slower and safer with less risk. It's hard to find drivers for old trucks. They want To drive newer trucks, a truck like that has to be driven by owner or it won't last. Yep. Amen, Lawrence. You don't have to rebuild the 8V92. Just bring plenty of oil with you. Those are some oil-consuming trucks. Yes, they are. Mike's got it right. I mean, they drink the oil. I literally have a barrel of oil specifically for this truck, you know, and, you know, that truck probably has 1.5 million miles on it. Like, I would probably be under-exaggerating how many miles that truck has on it, you know. They are rebuilt 1 gallon at a time. Yep. And you know, the other thing about this truck, you will not find a single rust spot anywhere on this truck. 0 places. It's got no rust jacking. It's got no rust on the frame. 0 rust anywhere. If you go over to some other, you know, let's say eastern states, their frames are falling in half, you know. This frame literally has no rust. That yellow paint you see all over it, that's the original paint color of this truck. This truck was custom made for Woodworth in Washington, which later became Miles Sand and Gravel, which is probably arguably one of the biggest sand and gravel companies in Washington State. You know, that was the custom paint job, was yellow and green. That was this truck right here, yellow and green. And the guy I bought it from threw some black paint over it, threw some orange paint on the cab, and sold it to me. And it looks like the first guy showing up is here to look at the truck. Boom. In Dodge. Anyways, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Take care of this guy. He was going to check out the truck. So catch you guys on the next one.